The old man didn't move. Not when the first tremor shook the dust from the rafters of the forgotten temple, and not when the roar of the approaching horde echoed through the valley, a symphony of rage and steel. He sat on a simple stone throne, his back to the grand, shattered mosaic of a forgotten age. His eyes were closed, his hands rested on his knees, palms up, as if waiting to receive the rain. They called him the Sentinel, though most had forgotten what he guarded. They saw only a relic, a stubborn ghost clinging to a pile of ruins. They didn't see the storm he held back, not with walls or weapons, but with the sheer, unyielding force of his stillness. The ground shook more violently now. Outside, the world was ending. Inside, he was the calm at the center of the hurricane. The first of the marauders, a brute clad in scavenged iron and driven by a thirst for chaos, burst through the crumbling archway. He paused, his jagged axe held ready, his breath a ragged plume in the cool air. He saw the old man, serene and motionless, and a cruel, mocking grin split his face. This was the legendary guardian, this frail statue of a man. He took a step forward, then another, the grin widening with every inch of ground he claimed. He raised his axe, ready to shatter the silence and the man who embodied it. But then he stopped. His eyes, burning with the fire of 1,000 sacked villages, met the sentinels. The old man's eyelids had fluttered open. There was no fear in them, no anger, no plea for mercy. There was only nothing, a void, a deep, silent abyss that seemed to pull the very breath from the marauder's lungs. The axe felt heavy in his hands. The roar of his comrades outside faded into a distant hum. The world, once a canvas for his rage, shrank to the space between him and the man on the throne. And in that space, a question bloomed, unspoken but deafening. What kind of power allows a man to face his own death as if he were merely watching the sun set? This is the power you have forgotten you possess. The power you were born with but which the world has stolen from you, one distraction, one fear, one insignificant worry at a time. You feel it, don't you? That nagging sense that you are a spectator in your own life, a ship tossed on the waves of circumstance. You react, you are provoked, you are pulled in 1,000 different directions by the whims of others, by the noise of the world, by the chaos you have allowed to take root in your own mind. You have been led to believe that power is loud, that it is aggressive, that it is the force that bends the world to its will. But the greatest power, the most dangerous and unshakable strength, is silent. It is the ability to remain still in the heart of the storm, to be the master of your own inner world, and in doing so, to become impervious to the chaos of the outer one. Today, we will not talk about changing the world. We will talk about changing the only thing you have any real control over, yourself. We will embark on a journey to reclaim the forgotten art of stillness, to forge a crown of inner peace so resilient that it cannot be dented by adversity, nor tarnished by the judgment of others. This is not about passivity. It is about supreme control. It is about becoming the forgotten sentinel of your own soul, the silent guardian of a power so profound that it can face down an army without taking a single step. Stay with me, and I will show you how to build a fortress within your own mind, a sanctuary of calm from which you can command your life with the quiet authority of a king. The marauder, the one they called Kor, the skull breaker, was a man forged in the crucible of violence. He had known only the language of the blade, the logic of brute force. His entire existence was a testament to the idea that the loudest roar and the heaviest hand would always prevail. Yet, standing before the silent sentinel, he found his own philosophy crumbling into dust. The old man hadn't spoken a word, hadn't moved a muscle, yet Kor felt an invisible pressure pushing back against him, a force far more potent than any shield he had ever broken. It was the force of a mind that had conquered itself, a mind that was not a slave to its own impulses. Think about your own life. How many of your actions are truly your own? How often do you find yourself reacting on autopilot, lashing out in anger because someone cut you off in traffic, feeling a surge of anxiety because of a notification on your phone, allowing the opinion of a stranger to dictate your mood for the rest of the day. You are like Core, believing that your strength lies in your reactions, in your ability to meet force with force. You swing your axe of anger, your shield of defensiveness, your spear of sarcastic replies, thinking you are in control, but you are not. You are a puppet, and your strings are being pulled by everything and everyone but you. The first step in forging your crown of stillness is to recognize that you are not your thoughts, nor are you your emotions. You are the observer. You are the silent sentinel watching them pass. The sentinel did not see Kor the Skullbreaker. He saw a man in pain, a man so terrified of his own inner silence that he had to fill the world with noise and destruction to avoid facing it. He saw the fear that masqueraded as rage, the weakness that hid behind a facade of strength. He did not judge him. He did not hate him. He simply saw him. And in that simple act of seeing, of pure, unadulterated observation without attachment, he disarmed him. Kor had expected a fight. He had expected fear. What he got was a mirror that reflected not the fearsome warrior he projected but the terrified child within. His axe arm trembled. Doubt, a foreign and unwelcome guest, began to creep into his mind. This is the first secret of the Sentinel's power, radical acceptance of the present moment. He was not wishing for the horde to disappear. He was not lamenting the fall of the temple. He was not bracing for the blow he knew was likely to come. He was simply there, fully and completely present in the singular, unfolding moment of his existence. He was anchored in the now, and because he was anchored, he could not be moved. Your mind is a time machine, constantly dragging you into the past to replay your regrets, or flinging you into the future to agonize over your anxieties. It is almost never here, in the only place where life actually happens, the present. The anxiety you feel is not about what is happening now. It is about what you fear might happen later. The anger you hold onto is not about the present moment, but about a past injustice you refuse to let go of. To begin to build your own crown of stillness, you must practice the art of anchoring yourself in the present. It begins with your breath. Right now, as you are listening to these words, turn your attention to your breath. Feel the air enter your nostrils, cool and crisp. Feel it fill your lungs, the slight expansion of your chest and belly. Feel it leave your body, slightly warmer than when it entered. Do not try to change it. Do not judge it. Simply observe it. This simple act is a rebellion against the tyranny of your own mind. It is a declaration of independence. For those few seconds, you were not lost in thought. You were not a slave to your emotions. You were present. You were still. You were in control. Kor took a half step back. The silence in the temple was no longer empty. It was full. It was heavy. It was a presence in itself. It seemed to be emanating from the old man on the throne, a field of force that calmed the raging storm within Kor's own heart. The shouts of his comrades outside now seemed distant and foolish, the meaningless howls of lost souls. He looked at the intricate carvings on the temple walls, really looked at them for the first time. He saw stories of kings and philosophers, of warriors who fought not with swords but with ideas. He saw a history of a people who understood a different kind of power, a power that did not need to scream to be heard. The Sentinel had spent decades in this temple, not just guarding it but learning from it. He had learned that the external world is a reflection of the internal one. A chaotic mind creates a chaotic life. A peaceful mind creates a peaceful life. The world does not happen to you. It happens from you. The marauders outside, in their quest to conquer and control, were merely projecting their own inner turmoil onto the world. They sought to silence their inner demons by silencing others, to claim ownership of land because they had no ownership of themselves. They were the ultimate slaves, shackled to their own untamed impulses. You are no different. When you feel the need to control others, to win every argument, to force your will upon the world, you are revealing your own lack of self-control. The man who is master of himself has no need to be master of anyone else. He is free. His validation comes from within, not from the applause or submission of others. This is the second secret of the Sentinel's power, the inner citadel. He had built a fortress within his own mind, a place of unassailable peace and strength. The crumbling walls of the temple were irrelevant. His true sanctuary was within him, and no army, no matter how large, could ever breach its walls. How do you build this inner citadel? You do it by choosing your inputs. You are the gatekeeper of your own mind. Every piece of information you consume, every conversation you engage in, every thought you entertain is a stone that either fortifies or weakens your citadel. The endless scroll of social media, the constant barrage of negative news, the gossip and complaints of those around you, these are the siege weapons of the modern world, designed to keep your mind in a state of perpetual agitation and distraction. You are willingly letting the enemy into your fortress. To build your crown of stillness, you must become ruthless in what you allow to enter your mind. Curate your information diet as carefully as you would your food. Unfollow the accounts that thrive on outrage and negativity. Limit your exposure to the news. Distance yourself from people who drain your energy and offer nothing but complaints. This is not about ignorance. It is about strategic engagement. It is about recognizing that your attention is your most valuable currency, and you must invest it wisely. Spend your time with the great minds of history. Read the words of the Stoics, of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. These were men who lived in times of plague, war, and political turmoil, yet they cultivated an inner peace that made them unshakable. Their wisdom is the blueprint for your own inner citadel. Kor lowered his axe. The heavy iron head thudded softly against the dusty stone floor. The sound, which would normally have been a declaration of victory, felt like a confession of defeat. He looked at his hands, calloused and scarred from a lifetime of meaningless violence. He had conquered cities, toppled warlords, and amassed a fortune in stolen treasures. But standing in this quiet room before this silent man, he felt utterly impoverished. He had nothing, because he had no peace. He had no stillness. He had no crown. The sentinel inclined his head slightly, a gesture not of victory but of acknowledgement. He recognized the shift in the marauder's soul. He saw the first glimmer of a man awakening from a long and violent dream. He had not defeated his enemy. He had helped him to see that the real enemy was and always had been within himself. This is the true nature of power. It does not seek to dominate, it seeks to liberate, not just oneself but others. The man who has found his own inner peace becomes a beacon for others who are lost in the storm. His very presence is a calming influence, a silent invitation to a better way of being. Think of the people you admire most. Are they the loudest, the most aggressive, the ones who constantly demand attention? Or are they the ones who possess a quiet confidence, a calm authority, an unshakable sense of self? They are the ones who listen more than they speak. They are the ones who do not get flustered in a crisis. They are the ones who choose their words and their actions with precision and care. They are the sentinels of their own lives. They wear the crown of stillness. The journey to this crown is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to face the uncomfortable silence that you have been running from your entire life. It requires you to sit with your own thoughts and emotions without judgment and without distraction. This is the practice of meditation. It is not about emptying your mind. That is impossible. It is about observing your mind. It is about sitting on the bank of the river of your thoughts and watching them flow by without being swept away by the current. Start with just 5 minutes a day. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Sit in a comfortable position with your back straight. close your eyes and simply pay attention to your breath. Your mind will wander. That is what minds do. It will be pulled into thoughts about the past, worries about the future, judgments about the present. When you notice that your mind has wandered, gently and without criticism, guide it back to your breath. That is the practice. That is the workout for your mind. Each time you bring your attention back to the breath, you are strengthening your ability to choose where you place your focus. You are building the muscle of mindfulness. You are taking back control from the chaotic dictator in your head. As Kor stood there, disarmed and humbled, the rest of his horde grew impatient. They began to pour into the temple, a wave of shouting, armored brutes, their faces contorted in masks of greed and rage. They saw their leader standing motionless, his axe on the ground. They saw the old man on the throne. Confusion warred with bloodlust in their eyes. "Kor, what are you doing?" one of them bellowed, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. "Kill the old fool and let's take what we came for." Kor did not turn. He did not look at his men. His gaze remained fixed on the Sentinel. He had followed these men, had led them for years. He had shared their plunder, their campfires, their mindless brutality. But in this moment he felt a profound and unbridgeable distance from them. He was seeing the world through new eyes. He was hearing it with new ears. Their shouts were the desperate cries of children, their threats the empty boasts of the powerless. The Sentinel remained still. He did not look at the newcomers. His focus was entirely on the man in front of him, the one who was standing on the precipice of a transformation. This is the third secret of the Sentinel's power, the power of a single-pointed focus. In a world that is constantly trying to splinter your attention into 1,000 tiny fragments, the ability to concentrate your entire being on a single task, a single person, a single moment, is a superpower. It is the difference between a scattered ray of sunlight and a focused laser beam that can cut through steel. When you are engaged in a task, are you truly there? Or is part of your mind checking your email, thinking about your next meal, replaying a conversation from yesterday? When you are with your loved ones, are you giving them your full, undivided attention? Or are you looking at your phone, your mind a million miles away? This fractured attention is the source of so much of our anxiety and dissatisfaction. We live in a state of perpetual partial engagement, never fully experiencing anything. We are ghosts in our own lives. Forge your crown of stillness. You must reclaim your focus. Practice monotasking. When you are working, work. When you are eating, eat. When you are listening, listen. Put away the distractions. Create an environment that supports deep focus. Turn off your notifications. Close the unnecessary tabs on your browser. Let the people around you know that you are unavailable for a certain period of time. This is not selfish. It is a sign of respect. It is a sign that you value your own time and the task at hand. By giving one thing your full attention, you produce better work, you build stronger relationships, and you cultivate a deeper sense of peace and satisfaction. The lead marauder, angered by Kor's inaction, shoved him aside. "Move, you useless oaf," he snarled and lunged towards the throne, his sword raised to strike. The Sentinel did not flinch. He did not even blink. His gaze, calm and unwavering, met the attacker's. There was a moment of suspended time, the point of the sword just inches from the old man's chest. The marauder's arm, an instrument of death that had ended countless lives, froze in midair. He found he could not complete the action. It was as if he were trying to push against a mountain. The Sentinel's stillness was not passive. It was a shield forged not of metal, but of pure, unadulterated presence. The marauder stumbled back, his face a mask of disbelief and a new, unfamiliar emotion. Awe. The other members of the horde, who had been cheering him on just moments before, fell silent. The entire temple was now engulfed in the Sentinel's profound stillness. It was a silence that was louder than any war cry. It was a silence that spoke of a power they could not comprehend, a power that could not be taken by force. This is the ultimate expression of the crown of stillness. It is a power that does not need to be asserted. It is simply felt. It is the quiet authority that comes from true self-mastery. It is the peace that radiates from a mind that is no longer at war with itself. This is the state of being the Stoics called apatheia, not a state of apathy or indifference, but a state of tranquility, free from the disturbance of destructive emotions. It is not that the Sentinel felt nothing. He felt everything, but he was not controlled by it. He could observe the fear, the anger, the chaos around him without being consumed by it. He was the mountain in the midst of the storm. The winds could howl, the rains could lash, but the mountain remained unmoved. Your journey to this state begins with a simple choice. The choice to stop being a slave to your own impulses. The choice to stop reacting and to start responding. A reaction is instinctual, emotional, unconscious. A response is considered deliberate, conscious. The space between stimulus and response is where your power lies. When someone insults you, the stimulus, your immediate reaction might be anger, a desire to lash out. But if you can create a small gap of awareness in that moment, a pause, you give yourself the opportunity to choose your response. You can choose to ignore the insult. You can choose to respond with a calm, assertive statement. You can choose to walk away. In that choice, you reclaim your power. You refuse to let another person dictate your emotional state. How do you create this gap? Through the practices we have discussed, through the daily discipline of observing your breath, through the conscious curation of your mental inputs, through the unwavering commitment to single-pointed focus. Each time you practice these things, you are widening that gap between stimulus and response. You are giving yourself more freedom. You are moving from a state of unconscious reaction to one of conscious creation. You are no longer just a character in your story. You are the author. Kor watched as his former comrades, one by one, lowered their weapons. The lust for plunder had been extinguished, replaced by a sense of profound confusion and self-reflection. They looked around at the temple, at the silent statues of wise men and women, at the intricate patterns on the floor that depicted the interconnectedness of all things. They were beginning to see that the real treasure was not the gold and jewels they had come for, but the peace they had stumbled upon. A peace that had been there all along, hidden beneath their own noise and fury. Kor walked to the center of the room and fell to his knees. He did not look at the sentinel, he looked inward. For the first time in his life, he confronted the howling emptiness within him, the void he had tried to fill with violence and domination. And in the profound, unwavering stillness of the temple, he did not find a monster. He found a flicker of light, a spark of his own forgotten divinity, the beginning of his own crown. The sentinel closed his eyes once more. His work was done. He had not fought a battle, he had taught a lesson. He had not defeated an army, he had awakened a soul. He had shown that the greatest victory is the victory over oneself. The crown of stillness is not a prize to be won at the end of a long and arduous journey. It is a state of being that is available to you in every single moment. It is the choice to be present, the choice to be aware, the choice to be free. Your life is your temple. For too long, you have allowed it to be ransacked by the marauding hordes of distraction, negativity, and fear. You have allowed its sacred spaces to be defiled by the noise of the outside world. But today, that can change. Today, you can take your seat on the throne of your own consciousness. You can become the sentinel. You can begin the work of building your inner citadel, of cultivating your inner peace, of forging your own crown of stillness. It will not happen overnight. It is a lifelong practice. There will be days when the storm rages and you feel yourself being swept away. But you will always have your anchor. You will always have your breath. You will always have the present moment. And each time you return to it, you will be strengthening your resolve, deepening your peace, and polishing your crown. Do not be discouraged by the long road ahead. Every journey begins with a single step. Your step is to make a commitment right here, right now. A commitment to yourself. A commitment to no longer be a slave to your own mind. A commitment to reclaim your birthright of inner peace. The story of the Forgotten Sentinel is not just a story. It is a reflection of your own potential. The power he demonstrated is the power that lies dormant within you. It is the power of a mind that has found its center. A mind that is still. A mind that is free. I want you to think about one area of your life where you consistently lose your peace, where you are reactive instead of responsive. Is it in your relationships, in your career, in your relationship with yourself? In the comments below, I want you to share what that one area is. Not for me, but for you. The act of writing it down is the first step in taking control of it. It is a declaration to yourself and to this community that you are ready to stop being a victim of your circumstances and to start being the master of your mind. We are all on this journey together. We are all learning to become the sentinels of our own souls. And as you go about your day, I want you to carry this question with you. What would I do in this situation if I were wearing the crown of stillness? Ask yourself this when you feel the stirrings of anger, the pangs of anxiety, the pull of distraction. Let it be your guide. Let it be the voice of the sentinel within you, reminding you of the unshakable power that is always available to you, just a single, conscious breath away. The world will continue to be a noisy and chaotic place. But you do not have to be a noisy and chaotic person. You can be the eye of the storm. You can be the silent guardian. You can be the one who, by the sheer force of your own inner peace, disarms the world. The crown is waiting. It is time for you to claim it.